Hello everyone, I'm Joel. In this video, I'm going to be getting my turbo M50 E30 as ready as I can for this track day that I have coming up. On August 17th, I'll be at Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania doing my first HPDE high performance driver education event at Impact. I couldn't get a roll race ticket, that was what I was originally going for, but I've been putting so many hours into grip driving on the simulator at home. So I am so excited about this track day. But there's a few things that I want to fix on the car before getting onto the track. I want to have the car as ready as I possibly can so that any issues that arise are new things that I did not know about. The biggest thing that I think is going to happen is with my brakes. I'm currently on stock brakes, but I do have Endless RF 650 brake fluid, which is the brake fluid that F1 and WRC use. This fluid has insanely good reputation right now, and everyone says it's so good, and that they even use it in their daily drivers, and it's such a good brake fluid. So I'm gonna have that in the brake system so that any issues that come after that, I'll know, okay, yes, this needs big brakes, or it doesn't, because the endurance E30 racers, spec E30 guys, they use stock brakes. Granted, they have a lot less power than I do, but I want to see what the limiting factor for my system is. The first thing that tends to happen at the track with stock brakes is you start boiling your brake fluid because you just have some regular brake fluid in there. And then people go around and say, oh, stock brakes suck because the brake fluid was what was boiling. Which, granted, yeah, stock brakes could suck, but it feels pretty good right now. Like when I need to stop, it stops pretty hard. I can very easily lock my tires up with these brakes, as you guys saw when I spun out in front of the cop. But so like, I don't need more stopping power. If I wanted more stopping power, I would have to get grippier tires because the tire is always the limiting factor. The only thing that a big brake kit would actually help with is dissipating heat. But if my brakes never actually get hot enough for a big brake kit to help with dissipating the heat, I'd rather just leave it stock so that the proportions of everything all work how they're supposed to. Because realistically, my rear brakes are good enough, and I would only get front big brakes, so then my front big brakes would massively overpower the rear, and it's such a weird line. Like, I would only want to start messing with that after I've done plenty of track days, and I know, yes, I'm gonna benefit from getting big brakes. I don't want to get 5 lug yet. I don't want to do any of that because it just changes the geometry too much of the suspension, and people say like that they have issues aligning the car doesn't drive the same once they go at 5 lug, and it's just so many issues with the geometric side of the suspension. I don't want to deal with that. I would rather stay 4 lug and have the suspension work exactly how it was intended. I also got a bunch of new bushings for my car. I'll explain why later when we get there. These are all the things that I've known needed fixing, and I'm fixing them now so that come track day, we should be 100% sorted. I'm also going to be reinforcing my trailing arms and everything, so this is all stuff that's very much needed with the amount of power that this car has. So let's get right into it. Oh, this is weird having a microphone on. You guys can hear me just as clearly. I don't want to start the car just to turn it off right away, even though I probably should. I don't like getting the moisture in the engine like that. I gotta get this so straight or else the lift does not like going under this. That's good enough. Now I gotta send it. Pushing a car by the wheel is the easiest way to move it. Come on, push, push, push. I normally never get that over the hump first try. Let's go. Too fast. Dash. All these horses in my car got me going fast. I don't like where the lift legs are on, but I also have to take my rear subframe out, and I have the lift arm on the subframe bolt. That is called not ideal, but I'll fix it later. There's nowhere to put the lift arm once the subframe is out. Wait, what?
Before anything, I need to make sure that my rotors are in good condition so that I can buy some new brake pads. But if I need new rotors, I don't know. Nice. Okay, so my pad is not fully gone yet. So I feel like I could just take this pad out whenever I'm gonna go to the track, put the track pads in, and then whenever I'm done with the track day, put these back in. It's not that much work. And the rotor doesn't have that much of a lip on it, so I'm gonna reuse these rotors. I'm just gonna order pads. I just needed to make sure that the rotors weren't too cooked and that the pads weren't too cooked. Because if the pads were cooked, then that means the rotor's done.
The closest autocross to me is at Lime Rock Park, and Lime Rock has a sound ordinance. They do not let your car be too loud. So I want to test fit this muffler in. Okay, yeah, this is good. So I'll just be able to weld up a V-band directly to this, and it's gonna be properly distanced. It's gonna be tucked in a little much, but I don't mind. It's only gonna be for the autocross days, because I prefer it with the muffler delete every single day of the week. I love how easy it is to take V-band exhausts off. Just one bolt. I'm gonna have to get this lift arm onto the pinch weld, and to do that, I'm definitely taking the side skirts off. Unfortunately, the double-sided tape that I put along the top isn't really doing much, and it's only the 3 screws holding it in. So I should try and put another screw in there. And it cracked along here because I think I made the side skirt a little bit too long, so when I tightened this up, it pinched it and separated right here. So I'm gonna put a few washers between the side skirt and the fender so that it can hopefully space it out a little bit and not be causing this seam to bust apart. Apparently the tape is kind of working. That's a damn shame. Come on. Damn, I do not miss how this car looks with no side skirts. This bracket that holds the subframe nut in basically can come out. Now I could just repeat the same on the other side. Okay, so the tape was not working at all on this side. Nice. Now I can adjust the lift arm. Just like that. I'm also gonna take this opportunity to drain the brake fluid. I actually forgot that a big reason why my brakes probably feel so good is because of this E90 booster and master cylinder. This definitely could be why the brakes feel so good and why I like the stock brakes so much. Instead of the E90 one, make sure you get this one. I think it's an X3, I'm not too sure, but I'll make sure during the edit. Instead of the brake lines coming out towards the engine like it does on the E90, it comes out on this same side that the stock E30 brakes come out. Now before putting the RF650 brake fluid in, I want to make sure to get as much of the old fluid out as possible so that I'm not mixing anything. There we go. I got this little vacuum bleeder tool on Amazon for less than $20. I'm really hoping that this works to get all the fluid out of the lines because that would be amazing. So I'm gonna apply pressure on it because I do have the cap on the reservoir as well up top. Maybe I should take it off. is the key to just keep opening the nipple. It's not holding vacuum. Fluid is coming out. No way that's how much fluid is in the brake line. Actually, maybe. It's a very thin line, and it's a singular line to the back. That might be it. It wasn't holding vacuum the whole time, but it got it out. That's all I ever care about. 53 milliliters came out of that first side. There it is. After the second side, it's right at 69. Look at it bleeding. Let's go. It's working. And it's actually holding pressure. I don't know why that backside was the only one that wasn't. Damn. Look how much is coming out. Damn. A little over 100 milliliters out of the third side. I'm gonna dump this and then we'll see exactly how much fluid came out of my entirely full system. A little under 10 milliliters, so 110 milliliters of brake fluid is what my system holds. I did all that with the cap on so that it could build up vacuum. It's at 15 milliliters after everything. So I'm gonna round up and say this E30 system has about 120 milliliters of brake fluid, which is very good to know. I didn't know how much brake fluid to buy, but I bought extra just in case if the bleeding process has any issues. All in all, this kit is a no-brainer for less than $20. The link is gonna be in the description. Now the drive shaft has to come out. Nice. Nice thing is I could just pop it in first gear from down here, and I don't have to go up top. Let's see if this brake line leaks anything. Nothing at all. Not even one drip. Damn. No way, dude. I'm so excited that not even a single drop of brake fluid came out of that. For a system that had fluid in it not too long ago, that is amazing. The jack down, get the spring out. You need to disconnect the, oh God. Now hopefully, since I've already replaced these e-brake cables, they come out easily. Yes! That's what I'm trying to see. If you haven't changed them, you get so insanely seized. Yes, the other side came out too. Okay, so I gotta go upstairs, push it through the hole, and then it's gonna come all the way out. Let's go. Oh my God! Holy shit, that is so tight. Let the wrench wedge itself in, and there it goes. When you're trying to loosen something, it's all about making sure it's 100% solid. Because if not, you're gonna lose a lot of torque in that movement. If I'm like trying to hold both of these, it's so much harder and you gotta put so much more torque than if you could just get the wrench to wedge itself in, and then 100% of the torque that you put into the nut is gonna go straight into the nut. So if you ever struggle with a bolt that's not coming out, make sure your setup is 100% as solid as possible before trying to push harder. I went in the cabin and finessed this little junction out of the e-brake. It actually took a lot of finesse. It is not a forced thing. Hopefully this isn't a disaster. This first lock on the lift is so high up. Maybe I should just lower it down. So yeah, I was going on the trailing arm bolt. Let's see. Oh, yes. Yeah? Yeah. That was so insanely stuck, but I had to just hammer it hard. What the f? Yeah, this thing is tweaked. The whole inner sleeve is stuck in there. That side's out fully?
Fully all the way.
Oh, okay, so wait, it might need to go up. turn it 90 degrees. And oh my God. I gave it one bang and that shit came all out. Dude, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen, but.
That's so terrible,
Subframe is out. Time for some Muay Thai now. Let's go. So these are ADA Garagistics poly mounts that I got back in 2018. So it's been some time with these. And the reason why I'm changing them is because my front control arm lollipop bushings were Garagistics, and I always had a vibration in my steering wheel, and I thought that that was normal. But turned out that the Garagistic mount just completely shrunk, and it was just shaking around inside of the lollipop, giving me vibrations in my steering wheel, and it felt horrible. So I got some Condor bushings, and it's so much better. It's not even funny. It did not feel like my rear end needed any kind of bushings or anything, but maybe that's only because I haven't driven with it yet. Maybe when I go for the first drive, it's gonna be completely different. I'm gonna start off by blasting this axle nut off and taking the axles out instead of undoing it from the differential. Nice, that actually worked out really, really well. Here's the situation we're dealing with. That sleeve is so seized in there. This is common with E30s, but I didn't think this would happen with the poly bushing. I don't know why. I thought this only happened with the stock rubber, but let's see. It's insane how solid it feels. Like, I don't feel any movement at all. I've been spraying this with PB since last night because it is unreal how seized this is. So I just let it sit overnight like this. Let's see if it made any progress. Oh, I see some movement. Oh, I see a lot of movement. Let's go. Yes. Yes! PB Blaster. Letting it soak overnight worked. I really did not want to cut that bushing and then drill that out, because with the rubber bushings, when it's really stuck in there, that's what you got to do. And it sucks. These GKN axles are absolutely trash. The amount of times that I've seen on the forums of people saying that they shot grease everywhere out of the boots is unreal. And it happened to both of mine. So they're so bad. Always only use OEM axles for any BMW. Any aftermarket is junk. If it's somewhat of a newer BMW, just go to the junkyard to get an axle. Just an OEM one. It has to be OEM. I threw the other trailing arm in the parts washer with the brakes still on, and I got the brake pads soaked in degreaser like an asshole. So I'm not doing that again. Come on. These pads have a lot of life left. I want you to turn up on me every night when I see you. You better recognize when I see you. Trailing arm is clean, so now I can just take this plate, etch it in to where it's gonna sit, get all that metal grinded down, and ready for a weld. This hole right here is for the ABS sensor to go through, the wire. So that's what shows it to be this side. I'm only gonna use this to mark out where I have to grind. Perfect. I wanna make sure I have a lot of clearance so that I can fit the weld gun everywhere. And then I'll just grind like an inch past where the mark is. It should be good. I'm gonna weld this all up real nice and slow so that I don't get too much heat into the trailing arm. It's kind of difficult to get the weld gun into these spots, but I'm gonna try the best that I can and see how it turns out. Allowing a lot of time in between welds so that nothing warps. Not being a good welder, this was very difficult to get into these little nooks and crannies while trying to have no air pockets, so nothing can get inside of here. But I did get the weld all the way around successfully. Does not look the best, but it's stronger than what it was before, and that's all I care about. This trailing arm is officially all reinforced. This subframe is so crusty. I'm just gonna clean it up and put it in just like that because I think eventually I wanna add the ability to adjust the camber and toe on this subframe. But until then, I'm gonna leave this exactly how it is. It's all wiped down and cleaned up now. I've tried this air hammer on 2 things so far and it hasn't worked on either of them. Nice. This seems so excessive, but it's not. Holy. Yo, that's insane. Just about ready for the new bushing. I dunked this brush in the parts washer. That parts washer is using PSC 1000 fluid, 10 gallons of it from Tractor Supply, right around $100, $50 per 5 gallons. And it is worth every penny. This stuff is so insanely strong. Oh! Almost dropped the whole thing. Now it is 100% ready for the bushing. These are the instructions for the subframe bushings, and they're saying make sure that the thick side is up. So I'm gonna do just that. Huh. Let's go. I'm so excited to see what these condor bushings feel like. I already did the subframe reinforcements. They are peeling a little bit, but like I said, I would rather do the whole subframe with the adjustments than just do it now. Don't know why I came in with the diamonds on my chain. Surrounded by bad bitches, I can get them on my face. Rest in peace, Takeoff, the best Migos. I've been saying Takeoff is the best Migos since 2017. His ad-libs are what made Migos, Migos. A lot easier than getting rubber bushings out. These Condor trailing arm bushings have a little bevel on the side of them, and they did that so that it doesn't bind up in the trailing arm. A lot of people say poly bushings bind up, and I'm assuming Condor found that it was binding up because it was locking up in this direction. So they added that little relief, so now it won't get caught and it'll still articulate properly. I'm gonna hit it real quick with some isopropyl alcohol. Get it all degreased and then shoot some primer on it. I'm gonna be using some of this automotive primer. I just have it on my shelf. Nice and light coats. Very light. Let that sit for 5 minutes and come right back with the same thickness. Just finished the last coat. Now I could flip it around and do the same to the other side. Now I'm gonna let this sit for an hour before doing a top coat. Just got the Falcon RT660s all mounted up. I did tell them at the tire shop that I'm gonna be on the track, and someone on Instagram told me that it's very possible that the wheel weights will melt off. So I told them about that, and it's kind of unfortunate he put the wheel weight outside on the face of the wheel, but whatever. These are some eBay reps, doesn't really matter. But I didn't even realize it also still has the wheel weights on there, so whatever. These are track wheels. I'm not gonna care too hard about them because if I go flying off track, they're gonna get destroyed. But this looks amazing. This is so much grip. When I was wire wheeling this passenger side trailing arm that was on the car, there was a little bit of a rust hole, and I sent the wire wheel straight into the rust hole, and it ended up turning into this monstrosity of a hole. I do not want to run this long term, but since I'm on a time crunch, I'm gonna be putting this trailing arm back into the car for this one event, and then when I get back, I'll be able to replace this. And I'm doing that because I got a new, to me, trailing arm, but I could not get this axle out. So I spent so much time trying to get this out. And then once I removed the axle, I would have to change the wheel bearing, burn out the old bushings, get everything reinforced. And I don't have time for that right now. So I'm gonna do that once I'm back from the event and have more time on my hands. So it's not gonna go to waste, but I did not want to weld the reinforcements to this trailing arm because this trailing arm is cooked and that would just go to waste. So only one side is gonna be reinforced. Kinda janky, I know, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. More than anything though, it really showed me that I need to get those little blocks that go on the bottom of the shop press, but I don't know the name of them and I don't know where to get them. So if you guys know, please let me know down below, because this shop press is kinda useless without any of those blocks to mount anything up on there. I really don't like the way that this paint is drying. It's kind of like flaky and just not good. So I'm just gonna leave this. I really do wanna do the rust trap, but that product needs 24 hours to dry before touching it. So like I said, I do not have time for that. So this is just gonna go like that. Any rock chips will chip this paint, but at least it looks somewhat decent for now. Whatever, you could tell there. Look at how bad that looks. It actually took a funny amount of digging on the internet to see which direction I should install these, but I found that the thick part should be on the outside. Yeah, definitely take the sleeve out beforehand. I really despise that these poly trans mounts from Garagistics are a through bolt rather than molded into the actual polyurethane, because You can over tighten it or leave it too loose. If you over tighten it, it causes way too much vibration. If you leave it loose, then it comes loose. And it's just so annoying. So I have rev shift engine mounts for the 24 valve in the E30. So I'm just gonna get these replaced with the matching rev shift transmission mounts so that everything is all the same for the engine and transmission. I did not expect me holding it by hand was actually gonna work, but it did. Every morning when I wake up, oh, got money on my mind. This right here is exactly why I'm going in and changing all these bushings. Look at how deformed and cooked this bushing is. I don't know, I don't like how these are. And there's no relief on these for that little tab that locates it, so it just digs into the side of them. Get some blue Loctite on there. Since this is a race car now, I should be putting blue Loctite on everything, realistically. Yeah, this is so much nicer than a bolt going all the way through. You can actually feel it get tight. With the through bolt, it never fully gets tight. You could just keep squeezing the whole bushing. Look at that, let's go. The instructions call for 18 foot-pounds. There we go, all set. And getting a closer look at that gimbal, that does not look good. I definitely have to replace this sooner rather than later. Okay, now that I'm looking at it, this does not look like a good idea to reuse these rotors without at least resurfacing them before putting the new pads on. But I have no idea how I'm gonna do that. It is currently Thursday and the track day's on Saturday. I gotta be in bed at 8 p.m. on Friday. So I gotta figure this out. This is kind of crazy. Damn, the only reason why I didn't get new rotors is because if these brakes suck on the track, I would have hated to have spent all that money on new rotors. So I wanna see if it's gonna make it, but yeah, I should have gotten these at least resurfaced. Damn. Throwing the axle puller in makes it nice and easy to pull these axles right through the hub. This tool is worth every cent. You see how easy that was? The link is gonna be in the description. I've used this so many times. It's saved me countless times. I'm not really sure the torque spec for this. Good to go. I did leave all the trailing arm bolts loose until there's an actual load on the suspension, and then that's where I'll tighten it all up. This is gonna be a battle doing this alone, so I'm just not gonna even think about recording. No way. No way is it just going up that easily. Damn, I got baited hardcore. I thought it was gonna be nice and smooth to get this in, but I fought with the subframe for hours trying to get that top little bushing to go into the chassis. The chassis was all clean, but it has to be perfectly lined up for it to go in there. And being alone, it was just so annoying, but I finally got it. It's all good. Diff is mounted, spring is in, almost ready to go. It's currently Friday at 12:30. I gotta ideally be in bed at 8 p.m. tonight so that I can wake up at 3 and drive 3 hours to Pocono tomorrow. So I am under a serious time crunch. I just vacuumed all the brake fluid out of the clutch line as well. So there should be no more brake fluid inside of the system, and I can go ahead and start bleeding the new race fluid. I got the rear brakes connected and the reservoir is filled with the brake fluid of choice, Endless RF650. I really don't want to waste not a single drop of this stuff because it's so expensive. So I'm going to be very careful while bleeding these. I'm not going to loosen this all the way because I don't want air going through the threads. And this does look like a really bad bleeder, but let's hope for the best. Here we go. Damn, there's hella air coming out. Okay, I messed up. I did not know that my rotors should be replaced. I thought they were good. I don't know why, but I went to O'Reilly's. I did not know that O'Reilly's resurfaces brake rotors, but they measured my rotors and they said they're not within spec, so only one of them was. But it's officially too late. It's 4 p.m. on Friday. I am not dealing with getting new rotors anymore. It's too complicated. So I'm gonna put the car back together with these brakes, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's gonna be my first HPDE a day. I just shouldn't go too crazy, I guess is what that means, because I tried as hard as I could to get this car as dialed as possible. Little two-stroke action, digging into some carbs. I'm gonna bring the pads just in case, but yeah, I'm gonna be running on these pads. They still have some life left, but I do not think that these are gonna last the entire day if I'm ripping hard on them. So I think I just gotta take it kinda easy with the brakes. It's the first day. I shouldn't try and absolutely cook, which that's a really hard thing to swallow because I really wanted this car to be good so I could go as hard as I could, but this is probably for the better. The universe is trying to tell me, do not go ham on the first day, so I'm gonna listen. This is definitely what this means. I tried so hard to have this car be 100% ready, but it wasn't in the cards, I guess. I gotta just go out there, get familiarized, and not do anything too crazy. We just need to get through the day tomorrow. Let me get this car back together, because this is crazy. We are leaving at 3 a.m. tomorrow. The brakes are bled, clutch is bled, everything is good to go. Thank you, Dad, I appreciate the help. It ended up using about this much of the second half quart or half liter. So it went through an entire one and then about that much for a completely dry system. So this is actually not bad. Damn, it looks so good with these tires. But the unfortunate thing is, it is 8 p.m. and this is not a good sign. Hopefully the camber tucks it up, but I do not feel confident. I think I'm gonna have to raise the car up, which is so annoying at this time, but let's see how it's sitting.
Decent, nice.
Okay.
Oh my God.
It's really close, but I think
It's close, but I don't think it's gonna hit.
it'll squat, but that's it.
It might squat straight into the, into the corner, you know? Yeah, the front looks good. Wait. I have to tighten the trailing arm bolts now. I had to get the 5mm spacer onto the front so that it could clear the coilover. But now let's start it and go for a little test drive and see how it feels, because I don't know, this is looking like it's gonna rub. Please, no rubbing. Knock my brake pad off. Big drop in those. Oh, the brakes feel pretty good. The car is driving perfectly right now. It has so much grip. There's like a dead zone that's like that big in the brakes, so I have to go that much for anything to start happening, and then at the end it just works so well. but that could just be because my pads are cooked. This is the setup right here. Let's see if this works. Please, hopefully it does, because I don't want it to be more complicated than this. Night before, let's go. I'm cheesing. It's 11 p.m. I did not think that this would take this long, but that's typical. I always said, why do people leave track day prep till so late the day before? And it happened to me now. The car is filthy, disgusting. Wheels are cooked, but that's the way it's going. We're gonna be driving 3 hours anyways, so I can't imagine that it's gonna be clean after the drive anyways. Oh baby, this thing looks good. I hate that wheel weight so much, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna stress over it. I will not let my OCD tweak over that. To clear the cow catcher, I had to put some pieces of wood on the bottom. Kinda sketchy, but hopefully everything is fine. Finally, we made it home. Stay tuned for the next video to see how this track day goes. I am so excited.